Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and today we're going to be reviewing,
Legends of Tomorrow.
yep, and it is the end, so bittersweet. This episode is called Aruba, and you'll know why, because it's referenced about 1,000,000 times. So, um, I mean, what they did well, which other shows, I'm not going to name any other shows, but in the season finale, they got it all wrapped up and they got it going straight away. Not no less spend half an hour in an hour, and they were like, right, we're going to build a radio straight off the mat. They get in communication with Rip Hunter and the ship, and they find out that it has been miniaturized. For someone so smart, someone genius, Eobard Thawne is very lax and very stupid in the sense that he allowed the legends not to be eviscerated the first time with the spear. He let Mick save them. The fact he just shrunk the ship and didn't destroy it, and the fact he just kept the atom suit. Why he kept the atom suit, I don't know.
I agree, but it's a conceit you kind of got to give the show. You know, he's the bad guy. This is what villains do. They stand around, they monologue for a while. And they can't, I mean, at least what I've liked about the show this season is at least they kind of acknowledge their stupidity within the show. They had, by having, skip ahead a brief bit, by having Eobard kill the Atom this time round, they're thereby, kind of admitting in the finale, yeah, he should have done this ages ago, but we got a bloody season to drag out, so this is what he got to do.
That was great, by the way. That scene was amazing.
That was cool.
Nice little bit of karma there for later on in the episode. But so yeah, the legends. I mean, what one thing I was going to point out, because I was thinking, I guarantee they do this, but then I was thinking, well, it's an aborted timeline, so it don't really matter. But I thought, right, they're going to unminiaturize the ship, and it's not. And I was thinking, are they going to take the ship outside and do it, or are they just going to do it and tear a hole? It is like Star Labs just going to collapse or something, and they just randomly just like and then blows out of the ceiling, you know what I mean? But I guess it's kind of, I was thinking to myself, well, it's kind of like it don't really matter what happens, they can do whatever, which I think they kind of they came to terms with, as it were, in terms of self-sacrifice. So yeah, they're on the ship, they travel back to 19 whatever. Obviously Eobard's onto the plan because he ends up going back as well. So their plan is to get the blood of Christ and destroy the spear, whatever. So, cool moment. Atom kind of blasts the ground and uncovers it. I thought that was pretty neat. I like the little crater thing. Goes in, grabs the blood. In comes Eobard, grabs the blood out of his hand, crushes it, and then just rips the Atom's heart out, and it's just in his hand. Like what? I thought that was great. That was pretty cool, right?
It was, yeah. And again, the blood of Christ gets destroyed a second time.
Because you always hear him go on about, like, he kind of comes off sinister and stuff like that, and he's always threatening to kill people, but he never ends up doing it. So the fact that, he actually ends up, like, because I think the last person he killed was Rex Tyler when he phased through his neck and whatever.
Yeah, so, and he killed Cisco as well, didn't he? But that got undone.
Yeah, so I mean, this was probably his biggest kill, just ripping the heart out. So I mean, that was pretty neat. So Atom's down, but as I said, it don't matter because it's aborted timeline. So, flipping out, what happened after that? So generally, I've see, one issue I had, and this was like playing on my mind. I was thinking, why didn't they just go after Merlyn and get the document, the word of God or whatever? Because like they all stayed there with the spear, but it's like you can't use the spear without the word of God, and they only sent Malcolm Merlyn to go and get it. So I was thinking, why didn't they just track him down, get the word of God, destroy it, and then they can't use the spear? The spear's useless.
This time travel stuff hurts my head.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that all the time. Well, they should have done that in the first place, you know what I mean? Because when they got the spear the first time round, Malcolm just wanders in with that big book, and it's just like, yo, the whatever manuscript, and it's just like, oh, now we can use it. So I was thinking they should have just gone after him, slapped Merlyn up, wouldn't have been too hard, and then just kind of destroyed the manuscript. Because he whipped him with him, didn't he? And it was like with Malcolm, he was like, oh yeah, I was looking for the manuscript, and he just comes along and kind of whips me out of it. So yeah, so then they decide to, because like the other members had gone off with J.R. Tolkien to look for the blood of Christ. They went into the church. The duplicates kind of.
Well, we have to. We're skipping over a bit, which is where they decide to go back first, right? Which is breaking Rip's big rule, his big warning was they never go into their own timeline, which is kind of always like a time travel rule.
Yeah, but there was kind of, yeah, they did that, but there was no kind of consequences until like this bit where they kind of sneak onto the ship, the different doppelgangers, and they kind of explain a way to get the spear, and then they end up bumping into their doppelgangers, and then they all end up on the ship, and then yeah, all hell breaks loose in the sense that they're kind of all there. They try to fly off. They kind of explain everything. They try to fly off, and then there's like a time storm, which looked pretty sick, where the ship was getting wazzed around, and then that crashed in what can only be described as a nearby field. And then that's when the Legion of Doom turn up and start popping it. Obviously, Eobard had run off earlier to be like, I'm getting reinforcements, so they're popping away the ship, and then it turns into a fight. Jax bangs out Malcolm Merlyn.
Yeah, and what confused me though is if Eobard's got all these reverse flashes, shouldn't he just like kill them all in a second? If one Eobard Thawne could rip everyone apart, which we've seen him do, surely an army of them can just get this done.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Anyway, I mean, yeah. After that, I mean, Jax ends up catching an arrow. He goes down dead. Martin's kind of like crying, and it's just like the other Jax is like, "Yo, hello," you know what I mean? Let's get out of it.
Most of the duplicates kind of die, right?
Yeah. So except for like, I think Sara's still about.
Yeah, Sara's still around. Mick dies. The steel dude died.
And then like it turns, yeah, Eobard turns up with about 100 other reverse flashes, and then they start whizzing around, smacking everyone out. He mullers them, but like the atom suit, even though he phased through the atom suit earlier to rip out Ray Palmer's heart, obviously they had issue doing that a second time because they were just slapping him about, and it was just like and then like the steel guy was the same. He was just like but that was pretty cool though, just getting them smacked about. I thought that was pretty cool. Then they end up going down, and then it's just like Sara Lance with the spear, and there's a nice little kind of she uses a spear, and there's a nice little kind of sequence where she's with a Black Canary, and she's sitting down and they're talking, and it's all kind of very batty but nice. Laurel Lance's hair looked nice. There was a blonde tinge to it. I noticed that. I thought that looked nice. So yeah, and then Eobard whips a spear out of her hand. Too slow, Miss Lance. Too slow. And then he goes to use it, but he can't use it. And then along comes Hunter Zolomon or Black Flash. And I thought this was sick because I thought, oh, he's going to get away. And he goes to sprint away, and like the Black Flash just grabs him straight up by the neck, and then like akin to what he did to Ray Palmer, whips him through his chest, and then he kind of molds and kind of disappears. So I guess,
yeah, we kind of seen before.
Yeah, obviously, but I think this is it for good. But I think the introduction with the 100 other reverse flashes kind of makes me think to myself, it's interesting as well that they can exist, because surely if Hunter Zolomon's chasing him all through time, it's like, why would there be allowed like other duplicates of him?
Well, I mean, bear in mind he fixed that, hadn't he? Didn't he use the spear to fix that? And I assume
Apparent,
Sarah undid it.
I guess so. Yeah, okay, then I guess that makes sense. So yeah, he kind of disappears. It is
That's
kind
what I'm
of
guessing anyway.
is falling in. Well, I mean, they'll explain it away. They always do. But they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, you killed that Thawne," but it turns out that's not Thawne Prime. Someone
Oh,
over,
yeah, it'll be
someone
back.
over the hill was Thawne Prime, and like, yeah, it's interesting that they kind of put character development into him for the past few episodes, made him like a decent character, and then they kind of maybe or maybe not kill him this
Yeah,
episode.
well, he is the bad guy. You got to get rid of him in the end. But yeah, he'll be back one day. And there's like we said, this season has been what the character kind of needed post.
Harry.
Yeah, because a lot of people still identified him with the Bad Thorn. So they've gave him a character, they gave him an arc, and if he pops up, a couple of years down the line, I think people will be glad to see him. And like the last couple of times, he's popped up, and it's like, oh, now we got to get used to this dude.
Yep.
So the timeline gets fixed.
Yeah, they plop them all back in their kind of normal times. Malcolm gets put back in his whack apartment. Apparently, is in a whack apartment.
Yeah.
Sara finds it in herself to like not kill Damien Darhk. She just pops him back in the timeline, knowing that even though Laurel's going to get mullered, that he ends up getting killed anyway. So she's pretty smug at that. Captain Cold, Mick takes him back, and they kind of have the neuralizers from the Men in Black, but real cruddy ones. They do that. I mean, they could have changed that up a bit. So yeah, they're all kind of put back in their respective timeline. It's interesting because kind of my thoughts with the kind of Spear of Destiny is that they'd bring back Captain Cold and Laurel Lance, but I guess Laurel Lance is coming back next season in Arrow as Black Siren, but it's like, as for Captain Cold, I guess is like, what, gone?
It depends on Prison Break, doesn't it? What's going to happen with that?
Yeah.
He might be back next season if Prison Break doesn't come back, but for now, I think he's going to be over there doing his thing. But then we get to Rip leaving, which I am not surprised by.
See, I like his character. I think he's done well on the TV show, and it's kind of like, if he goes now...
I like his character, but I stand by what he said, and he basically outlined it himself in his monologue. It's like, it seems weird. He's like lumbering around on his own ship. I don't get why he's leaving his ship, but, he just doesn't fit. I mean, he does fit, but he doesn't fit following orders. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So, whether we'll see him again...
We probably will, but it will pop in, help out the team, then pop back off again. I don't think he's going to be around on the ship for a long time.
So then they end up, there's another time storm, and they fall out of the temporal vortex. I swear there's like a little bit of TARDIS noise going on as well when they're falling out of it.
Oh boy, no, the show's basically Doctor Who anyway. He might as well throw it in there.
Yeah, so they end up crashing in Los Angeles, and there's like a few differences. There's T-Rexes, and there's a couple of like buildings in the background, one that kind of looks like Big Ben. So like time's kind of messed up in the sense that like things appear in different times. So like dinosaurs are in modern day, and probably modern day people will be, I don't know, in Victorian London and stuff like that, and it'll be all like kind of freaky like that, kind of messed up. In the future, people are flying around on mammoths and stuff like that.
I wonder who it will set up as a villain though.
Jeez.
I have no guesses at all.
It'll probably be released like a couple weeks before it comes back, but because the timeline's so messed up, like in my head I'm thinking someone to do with time and stuff like that, but then I'm thinking, meh, it could literally be anyone really. It could be like a different timeline kind of person. It could be like, I think what would be cool is if like they had the Legion of Doom this season, if they were fighting like an evil Green Arrow and evil Flash.
That'd be cool, but it wouldn't be the same actors.
No.
There's no way they've got enough time to do both shows.
No, unless you're John Barrowman. He'd do all three shows.
Oh, he'll do any show.
He'd do a Merlin spin-off. So yeah,
He'll do all three shows, a Merlyn spin-off, and still try and figure out a way to do talk shows.
and a
That man loves it.
and a musical episode
Oh
of
yeah.
everything. An hour-long musical show. Yeah, I'm interested, but I think they'll just drop a villain like a couple of weeks because they generally always do that. But I think maybe turning the good guys bad and stuff like that would be kind of cool, like different version of heroes, like heroes in a way you haven't seen them before. Let's give it a number.
I'm gonna go with, and I'm stuck between an 8 and 8.5. It's the finale. I'll be generous. 8.5. I thought it
Yeah,
was a strong season. I had fun. Legion aside, I think it's the second best comic book show on TV, at least the most consistent, and it's the best of the CW shows this year.
yeah. Yeah, I'll probably give it an 8. There was some cool things, but I don't think there was enough like cool things, and the fact they kind of revisited where they were like 2 episodes weren't so hot, but there was some cool stuff. For the season, there was like really the chemistry was good and it started off good, but I think really like kind of first quarter there were like maybe episode 3 and 4, like after the Legion and stuff like that, when they went to Japan, there was really out of like the 16 episodes, I'd say there were about 5 or 6 kind of ropey episodes that I think were purely because of like character development.
There were some bumps along the way. Definitely that Arthurian episode was the pits for me, but
Even the Land of the Lost was pretty whack.
it was that one was pointless, wasn't it? It's like, why are you going back there? It made no sense.
Exactly. I think it was literally just kind of the majority of the kind of thing was like character building for Nate and Amaya and whatever. Even the kind of Turncoat episode was a bit ropey. So I mean, the thing is, when they introduce characters and stuff like that into it, they spent like a couple of episodes kind of easing into it, really. So I mean, if they just carried on with the same people they've got this season, but I think there's like a couple spaces, but if they carried on, then there wouldn't really need to take episodes out to like explain why someone's there, so they could just plot, you know.
I think this season's definitely been an improvement, though. I think they found a way to have fun more consistently. I didn't get as annoyed by the characters I did last year. Hawkman and Hawkgirl drove me to absolute distraction last year, so I think it's definitely been an improvement.
Yeah, I think they've showed that they can introduce new characters and then they can be okay, but I mean, really, they need to knock off the relationship stuff, like the kind of Hawkman and Hawkgirl and Amaya and Nate, knock that out, get rid of that, and kind of like just bring in cool characters. And I think they're ironing out the kind of bumps as every season goes. So I think hopefully they'll kind of realise the relationship stuff's a kind of drag, move away from that, and then there'll be less kind of batty episodes, and then it'll be stronger from there. But I think next season's definitely going to be like the best season so far.
Maybe, we'll see.
Yeah, so I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And this has been our review for the Season 2 finale of Legends, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. See you in the next episode. See you next season.